Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. I forgot to turn the music off in time because I was busy making faces at myself with my avatar. It's a little hype. I think they changed the tracking again a little bit. It's a little different than last time. Anyway, that's fine. Gosh, it's been a while. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of no Umineko. So, it is a good way to spend a few minutes. Also, I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I'm trying to remember where you were last week. Not last week, 2 weeks ago. And I should know this because I looked it up before, like a professional. Yes. First off, we're going to start with our usual content warning. Because that stuff's important. Content warning for Umineko. Character deaths, detailed descriptions of gore and body horror, child abuse, discussions and mentions of suicide, and misogyny. And, yeah. Last time we found out through the red text that Battler I need to be careful with my wording here. Oh, this is a tricky one. At this point, I'll tell you, like, from Battler's perspective, he's just been told that he's not who he thought he was. His mom isn't his mom, it's someone else's mom. And he might not even be part of the Ushiromiya family. And he's going through some stuff right now, some heavy existential crisis stuff. Meanwhile, in the present day, Ange went to the island after everything happened. In the process, she encountered Kirie's sister, Kasumi, who had a whole pack of guards with her, who beat Ange up and tore up Maria's diary. Basically did everything they could to hurt her. At which point, Ange decided, like, fuck this, magic is real, I believe, and I'm gonna use my magic to kill all of you right now. And then she did. And that's where we left off. So Kasumi's dead. Her goons are dead. And apparently Ange did this with magic. During this conversation that she had with her aunt, Ava Beatrice popped up, so that's Ava's witch form, and did some of the egging on of ruining Maria's diary, of just making her get hurt. And at that point, Ange says, "Next is you." Let me just do some volume adjustments. Next is you, the Black Witch. I'm just gonna start. By now, I think even the fact that you look like Aunt Ava is inexcusable to her. If my form still looks like Ushiromiya Ava, that means you still haven't been able to forgive me inside yourself. I understand, Ange. Even you want to be released from your thorn-filled life more than anything. In that case, I thought of something interesting. I'll show you magic as well. I won't be the one to kill you. With the worst of smiles on her face, the Black Witch changed her form into something like a black mist, or else a vast swarm of black flying insects, which began to swirl around me. Then, that black mist began to gather bit by bit, shaping itself into the form of a human. What's this supposed to be? You've got at least a vague idea, don't you? It's the woman you hated and despised the most. The woman who hated and despised you the most. When the black mist cleared, over there was Aunt Ava's form, as she had been during her life. Her hands were holding a gun. Aunt Ava died. Long time no see, Ange. I've come back from hell to kill you. Aunt Ava glared at me with a mad laugh. But I'm not that surprised. Aunt Ava was that kind of person. I imagine my funeral came as quite a relief to you, right? I feel the same, since I'll never have to see your face again. But I had just one regret. And this is it. Killing me. Was that your last request? How pitiful. Even after death, my aunt wasn't released from her pain. The Black Witch's power is itself the source of my magic. Anger and hatred taught me how to work hard and persist. Completely different from this magic to escape reality that you speak of. The magic you speak of is nothing more than stress reduction through outbursts of anger. Our magic is different. It can remake the entire world. It's in a totally different class than your wicked magic. In that case, let's settle which is the victor right now, black or white. You see my black magic miracle, reviving even after death and pointing a gun at you like this. How exactly do you intend to stop that with a miracle of white magic? I've surrounded you with a magic-resistant toxin. You can't call the Seven Sisters anymore. That miracle just won't occur again. Having it occur despite all that is why it's called magic. Okay. Maman, lend me your power. But Maman didn't respond. She didn't appear. Certainly, as she'd said, the magic-resisting toxin had burned everything up like a wasteland parched by a blazing sun. This might be a little tough. It's useless to call out. Never again. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory will never answer. And being able to call them even so is what makes it magic, right? How pitiful. So long, Ange. The few days we spent together were fun in their own way. This is goodbye. Aren't you glad that the end of the line for you turned out to be this place? Yeah, seriously. How thoughtful of you. Thanks. Then this is farewell. The barrel of the gun rose slowly, so that you could see all the way down it. Then, the trigger was slowly. At that moment, the gun exploded. It wasn't that it fired. It burst. You're kidding me. In shock, inside a frozen space, Ava looked at the ruptured gun. When time melted, the fragments would probably smash into her face all at once. Maman of Greed, right here. You're kidding me. Behind Ava's back, Maman stood. She had already penetrated the target I had given her. which was the gun. Is this enough magic for you, Aunt Ava? Ange? Then, time melted. The fragments of the burst gun and exploding gunpowder burned her face. Letting out a shrill scream, she covered her face and rolled around. It was pitiful. Your luck was bad. This is game over, Aunt Ava. I signaled to Mammon, so that Ava would be freed quickly from the pain of her burnt face as she writhed around. Thank you, Mammon. This time, I want to apologize again, and from the bottom of my heart, for calling all of you powerless on that day in the classroom. You are excellent furniture for protecting witches. I'm the one that's grateful. I feel truly honored at being able to meet a good witch, a good master in the end, and at being able to fulfill my duty as furniture. Mammon had understood. This would be the final job I'd give her. Mammon quietly walked up to me. Then, she looked down at Ava. Aunt Ava, thanks for sticking with me for so long. This is farewell. Have a nice dream. See you in hell. Cool. Why did she say that? Then, the light sound of her forehead being bored into rang out. Cool. The battle of gunpowder, smoke, and fury, of white and black magic, ended. I get the feeling it was a long, truly a long journey, and the world slowly sank into darkness. That cool really caught me off guard for a second. The stars that should have been sparkling lay not in the sky, but were scattered beneath me. When I realized that the pearl and ruby made a red and white stream, I noticed that it was a vast nighttime scene spread out below. And yeah, having gunpowder explode in your face seems not super cool, but maybe it is with magic, I don't know. I was in the sky of that nighttime scene, neither standing nor flying, but simply floating. Oh, it's a trend, and that's why it's that sense of cool. Oh my god. Kids, don't try that at home. Also, what are you doing here? Go to sleep. It's like 10 p.m. From nowhere in particular, I could hear a clap, clap, clap. A truly dull applause. I know. It's the one who ordered me to go on a journey. Berncastle. Oh, it's only 9 p.m.? Yeah, that's fair then. Congratulations, Endless Witch, Ange Beatrice. At the end of your travels, you understood everything about magic. Yes. I now understand everything about magic. I am a witch. The last witch who inherited the magical world created by Mariage Sorcière. No one besides you can tear Beatrice's world to pieces. Because I know witches, I learned how to resist them. Magic is made of love and sadness and anger. No matter how cruel a witch Beatrice might have been, the source of her magic is exactly the same. And that's why I wish I could leave that world of hers alone. After all, in her eyes at least, that world is complete. But then you'd have to give up on your family. That's right. So I don't like doing it, but I have to fight. The very reason I left on this journey to become a witch was so I could bet on the faint chance that I'd be able to take my family back someday. Unless you kill Beatrice, only worlds of isolation can exist for you. As one who has traveled to billions of fragments, I guarantee it. I understand. I can't afford to have compassion. I must make my heart a demon and tear her heart to pieces. It's good that you're steady in that resolve. I was worried that, as another witch like her, you might grow attached and lose your will to continue. It felt a bit hollow hearing that from a person whose face was almost always expressionless. Berncastle, the mysterious witch who invited me on this journey. At times I've suspected that you might have lied to me. Why? I am the Ange of 1998, so even if I save my family, they will only be saved for the Ange of 1986. They won't be saved for me. So I've sometimes felt like I was being deceived. That is correct. I deceived you. But now I'm grateful. After all, in the end, you did teach me how to get my family back. I didn't teach you anything. If you know something, it's because you've reached that mental state by yourself as a witch. That mental state is different from my own. I personally cannot understand it, but if that's the truth, then congratulations. I'm not a player in this game, but a piece. You said that to me, right? Yes, I said it. Now I finally understand that role. A piece doesn't need emotions. It just has to give its all for victory's sake. I'm also vibing to the music. It's very good. Yes, that is correct. A game requires that you each make the best possible moves, right? If your moves get distorted by hesitation and confusion, your opponents will be confused as well. Sorry, Beatrice, but don't hate me. Ushiromiya Ange still needs her family, so I have the right to fight you, so that I can take them back. And you have the responsibility to be challenged by me to a fight. So, don't hate me. In exchange, if you do win this game, I'll give you my blessing as well. Come on, let's go. As the piece I am, it's finally time for my true form. True turn. My true turn. Sorry, Beatrice. I won't hand Oni-chan over to you. Why does your city not sound like that? I mean, grab some speakers, blast the song, and it can. Get a big boombox. The world whitened. It wasn't white. It was a gold color, as bright as can be. There was the beautiful Ushiromiya family rose garden. However, the flowers on the roses were all gold. The nectar was also gold-colored. The butterflies gathered there were gold as well. This is the Golden Land. The promised land that the witches of Mariage Sorcière had finally been guided to. There, all wishes are granted, and all magic and dreams are born. Breaking news. I guess you should worry about volume control in case, because you don't want to get in trouble. But if you do get in trouble, just say that I said it was okay. That'll do it. That'll do the trick. The music was a banger though. Yeah. The music in this game is just amazing. It's just banger after banger. It's great. In that garden of gold roses were 2, and only 2 witches. I don't have connections in this government. I don't have connections at all. I just say it's okay, and them's the rules. That's how that works, right? I appeared as an uninvited guest, making that atmosphere tremble with unrest. What was to them a wind of misfortune shook the golden roses. The incredibly beautiful scene formed by the golden rose petals scattered by the wind was clearly something not of this world. I am the government. I'm not. I can't say that kind of stuff. They're gonna get me if I say that. I'll write you a note. That should do it. It's fine, don't worry about it. At this point, I'm just vibing to the music a little too hard. It's distracting. The 2 who had been taking a walk on a path of golden roses noticed me and were surprised.
Ange? Beato, it's Ange.
How did you get here? Leave us alone. I shall no longer invite anyone here. Beato spoke coldly. She seemed like a completely different person from the boldly sneering woman she had once been. She had closed off her heart and shut herself up in a world where she was alone with Maria One-chan. A world where she could always be alone with a friendly Maria One-chan, lecturing about magic while drinking tea, with no one to hurry them and nothing to hold them back. A world where not a single person who might hurt them existed. Yes, to the 2 of them, it was a small, perfect universe. Sorry, I can't have you shutting yourself up in here. We can't continue the game unless you come back. I said I'd stop because I'm tired of it. I will not return to the game again.
Beato will always be here with me. Here, we'll drink tea together and think of lots of ways to play. You can play with us too, Ange.
Maria, I believe I said that mustn't happen. I am satisfied as long as I have you alone. Say that you too are satisfied as long as you have me.
Yeah. Thank you. The only person who needs me that much is you, Beato. So I'll be with you. Just us is enough.
Maria, thanks. I am grateful. Beato held Maria tight, even creating a small, warm universe between their joined arms. It was probably the birth of the smallest universe in the world. The smallest universe in the world, which a pair who needed each other could give birth to. No matter how small it was a complete world. But I had to tear it apart. Sorry, but I can't let it go like that. I came to smash this golden land of Mariage Sorcière. Why are you going to break my world? Are you saying that this world is causing anyone other than Maria and me trouble? You've left Oni-chan waiting all this time, In a game you started and then abandoned without finishing. If you don't return to your seat, the contest won't end for all eternity. There's no longer a single player in that game. Battler vanished, and I did as well, coming here. That game is already over. It isn't over. You started the game, right? Take responsibility and see it through to the very end. Will you defeat Balor and give birth to the world you truly wished for? Or will you be defeated and everything swallowed up by your magic released? Take responsibility until the very end.
Don't, Ange. Beato will spend her time in this world, alone with me, for eternity. And I don't need anything else, as long as I have Beato. Here, all wishes are granted. Everything is here.
This Golden Land is made up of nothing more than the crystallization of Beatrice's and Maria Onechan's thoughts. To drag Beato out of this world, I'm going to have to destroy it. I will destroy this Golden Land, which must be a final, peaceful world in Beatrice's eyes. Onechan, that's wrong. This Golden Land is a liar. It won't grant the one wish you truly want granted.
That's not true. Anything can be granted here. Look, there's even a nice mama here.
Gold butterflies gathered behind Maria, forming into a kindly, smiling Aunt Rosa. After smiling sweetly at me, it became golden petals and crumbled.
Here, anything can be created. Even Ange, even Balor, even Giorgio Onechan, even Jessica Onechan. You can summon as many as you want, and everyone is nice. You too, Ange. You come too, Ange, and let's play together.
Sorry, Onechan. And what about Sakutaro? Upon hearing Sakutaro's name, Onechan looked like she was choking. Stop it. Do not speak that name. Beato's expression changed as well. And she hugged Maria, guarding her shoulders. Sakutaro's name was still taboo for Onechan. Why can't I say it? It's the name of Maria Onechan's best friend. Why won't you invite that close friend to this wonderful Golden Land? Why, in this Golden Land where any wish can be granted, is Sakutaro the only one you cannot summon? It's alright, Maria. You don't have to remember Sakutaro.
Sakutaro was killed by Mama.
Maria Onechan flew into a rage with a terrible expression on her face. Surprised by that voice, the butterflies throughout the garden flew up, blowing around like a typhoon of flower petals. Yeah, I know. Aunt Rosa took your precious stuffed animal, Sakutaro, and tore him apart.
Ah.
Maria's scream became a storm that violently scattered the golden petals and leaves. It was truly a storm of gold. Stop! Stop, stop, stop! Why are you trying to reopen the wound in Maria's heart? Don't defile the sleep of this precious friend to both Maria and myself. Hey Jester, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream and thank you for, 5 months already. Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
In that case, why don't you revive that precious friend for her with your magic? I'd do it if I could. But that stuffed animal was an article Rosa created herself. The magical meaning of that individual object being torn apart is... Don't try to fool anyone. Why can't you revive Sakataro? There's only one answer. It's because you aren't a real witch. Them's fighting words. I can revive him. With my magic, I can revive him as often as I want, like this. I could even bury this garden in Sakataro's. Doing fine? Good, glad to hear it. And thank you for lurking. Yeah, I'll bet you could with your magic. But One-chan definitely wouldn't be able to see the Sakataros you create. You know why, right? I'll say it again. It's because you aren't a real witch.
Stop it! Why do you keep saying such mean things, Ange? Beato can use a lot of magic. She's a wonderful witch. She couldn't revive just Sakataro, but she can do absolutely anything else. So I can at least do without Sakataro.
No, One-chan, that's wrong. There's nothing a witch can't do. As soon as she couldn't do that, it was clear that Beatrice wasn't a real witch.
That's wrong.
It's because Sakataro's stuffed animal vessel was something Mama made specially herself, and that's why she can't revive him? Is Beatrice's, your magic, so inconvenient? In that case, are you saying you can revive Sakataro? Are you saying you can do that with your magic? I can. But what? Maria One-chan, I'll show you some real magic. I'll revive Sakataro for you.
Really? Even Beatrice couldn't do it, right? Really?
Yeah, I can. In exchange, promise me, once I've revived Sakataro,
Yes.
leave this golden land. I will not permit that. This world is Maria's and mine. If Maria leaves, it will break. The minimum number of humans it takes to create a universe is 2. Otherwise, that world is destroyed. To drag out the witch shut away in the Golden Land, I'll have to destroy this world. Yes, that's the proof that you aren't a witch. A real witch can create a universe alone. The Mariage Sorcière Alliance of Witches. The very existence of this alliance proves that you aren't a witch. No. I won't hand Maria over. I hate you. Leave right now. Get out of here. Dragging everyone into a game of your own accord, then getting bored and chasing them out when your mood changes. How selfish can you be? Take a look, Beatrice. And you, Maria One-chan. This is true magic.
Will you really revive Sakataro?
There's no way you can. This is a golden land for Maria and me alone. There's not a single spell that an outsider like you could use. As you are now, you couldn't even create a single butterfly.
Be quiet, Beato. Don't get in Ange's way.
When Maria yelled, the storm suddenly stopped, and the area returned to silence. The scene, as a massive number of golden petals that had been blown upwards quietly drifted down, was fantastical, as though a golden snow was falling. Maria, thinking about this unlikely, if only, miracle, had unconsciously joined her hands together, as though praying. Beato watched Maria do this, her heart racing. If the extremely unlikely were to happen, Maria would... this world would. But it's unthinkable. Absolutely impossible. That stuffed animal, which had been the only one in the world, was torn apart and thrown away, and not a thread remained. Reviving it was certainly and absolutely impossible. This is my golden land. A world where magic that isn't mine certainly cannot exist. If you think you can do it, let's see what you've got, Ushiromiya Ange. At Beato's scream-like cry, the world lost its sound. I slowly recited the incantation for true magic. Come, try to remember Maria's close friend, Sakutaro. Try and remember what form you had. Try and remember what a lovable stuffed animal you were. Expressions of shock rose to both of their faces. Then, pushing Beato's elbow aside, Maria dashed forward. Kotaro, Sakutaro. Then, she clung to us both. It's all right. Sakutaro isn't going to disappear.
Uryu, Maria, I'm home. Sakutaro.
Sakutaro.
Ugh. Sakutaro, I wanted to see you so much.
It was, without a doubt, that stuffed animal lion, Sakutaro. Its softness, its texture, its stitches, its everything, Maria had forgotten. But the instant she hugged that stuffed animal, it all came back to her vividly.
Uryu, Maria, I'm home. Sakutaro, Sakutaro, is your body alright? Does it hurt anywhere? Even though something so horrible was done to you, are you all okay? Uryu, Ange revived me with magic, so I'm perfectly fine. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Welcome back, Sakutaro. Ooh. From now on, I'll always be with you, Maria. Together for eternity. So, don't let go of me, okay? Yeah, we'll let go. For all eternity.
Then, still hugging Sakutaro, she looked up at me with tear-filled eyes.
Thank you, Ange. Ange's magic is amazing. How? How can you revive Sakutaro? When Beato couldn't do it.
Impossible. Impossible. How? How can a human other than me use magic in my golden land? This is completely impossible. What are you so flustered about, Beatrice? This is magic, right? There's no way that's magic. This is my golden land. A world where magic that isn't mine certainly cannot exist. And my magic was not able to revive Sakutaro. There's no way it could. That is a special stuffed animal, made by Rosa for her daughter's birthday, and in the entire world, the only... See? It's magic, right? Beato's having a hard time. With this miracle that she couldn't possibly accept, Beato understood all of my magic. She looked at Maria and Sakutaro innocently frolicking around, looked at me, and then fell to her knees, with even her hands pressed to the ground, and cried.
Beatrice, this really is magic, right? It's magic, right? Beatrice.
Indeed, it is magic. This is real magic.
Why can Ange use a magic that even Beato couldn't? Why? Why? Ange's amazing. Ange's an amazing witch. A real witch who's much, much more amazing than me.
Yeah, that's right, One-chan. I'm the witch of resurrection, Ange. There's nothing that can't be revived by me.
Amazing. Incredible. Even Beato said that the magic of resurrection was the hardest. Ange's incredible. A really, real, great witch.
At that time, Maria's and Sakutaro's forms flashed gold, and the forms of the two became golden flower petals that crumbled away. As the two became a golden wind and swirled together, they left for some other peaceful place, not here. Beato had, as promised, banished Maria from the Golden Land. Goodbye, Maria One-chan, and be happy forever. Don't worry, you definitely exist in One-chan's world too, but that isn't you. Good for you, Maria, as your close friend. I celebrate this reunion from the bottom of my heart. On Beato's face was a mixture of what was probably every expression a human could muster. It was joy, anger, and sadness. That's the source of magic, isn't it? Without love, without sadness, without anger, magic cannot be seen. The ground shook, an earthquake. It gradually summoned greater and greater fissures, and began to tear Beatrice's final paradise apart. Golden butterflies fluttered about, trying to escape, but there was nowhere to escape to. And Beatrice was the same. The Golden Land began to crumble away. The earth crumbled downwards like a floor falling through, and Beatrice was sucked into the depths of the jet-black darkness. Then she was mercilessly slammed against the jet-black floor. It was a dimly lit smoking room. And yeah, the Golden Land doesn't sound like a great place to be. I totally agree, Kat. Kinda fishy. Maybe not fishy so much as just kind of lonely, you know? Though originally the intent was to bring the whole family there. But like, imagine that group being stuck in the same place forever. That doesn't bode well either, does it? Sorry, quick water break. There was no door to exit by, and while there was a window, it let no light into Beatrice's shadowy smoking room. Yeah, the Golden Land is super, like, idealized, I guess. It's like, yeah, here anything's possible. You can get whatever you want, and you know, if you're a 9-year-old like Maria, you know, it's endless candy, and your mom's always nice to you, never scolds you, or in Maria's case, abuses you. Sounds pretty ideal, right? You get to be with your best friend, but it's a very kind of childish idea, I guess. Yeah, it's a facade at best, and like it's not practical. But that's also the magical aspect, right? Like magically everything's gonna be okay. But then reality kicks in, and it turns out it kind of sucks. It depends on, like magic, it's a perspective thing. FU reality, yeah. Good question, Kat. Good, interesting thing. That I cannot comment on in any shape or form, I'm sorry. Interesting line of thought. It really is like, you know, one of you mentions this theory and I just go, yes, interesting, and that's all I can say. Fascinating. But no, that's genuinely interesting. Okay. Even though Beato was moaning from the pain of being slammed against that cold, hard floor, she shakily rose to her feet. There was a seat there, and the game table still just as it had been when she'd left it. The game board also remained in the same state that Beato had left it in. That's your seat. Sit. So, this is the only seat for me to sit in. Beato put a hand against her own seat and laughed sadly. Win or lose, that's all you've been given. A tie during the process of reaching that point will probably be permitted. However, you won't be allowed to suspend the game and throw it away. Will you win and survive, or lose and disappear? Until one of those two things happens, you will not be permitted to rise from that chair. That should be your only duty as the host of the Witch's Game, as the Golden Witch, Beatrice. It's second playthroughs or read-throughs, they change your perspective so much. There was a huge hint earlier, and I looked over at my other screen. I was like, oh shit, you need to reel that in because you just made a face. Because the avatar was like, you know. I'm trying to be careful, but sometimes it's you have those moments of realization, like, oh, that's how you could have figured this out. That's how you could have figured that out. It's like, oh, what a great puzzle. It's also intricate. I love it. Yeah, you can totally watch my face for hints. I try to hold back, but I do not succeed every time. And there's some like really random bits where I'm like reacting pretty strongly, right? It's gonna give it away. It's gonna give something away. I don't know what, but I mean I know what, but I don't know how obvious it would be for a first-time watcher or viewer, you know, or listener, I guess. Yeah, it glitched. It super glitches all the time. It's true. Yep. Alright. Laughing weakly, Beato sat in that seat. Then she rested her elbows and covered her face with both hands, showing off a smile with nothing but her mouth. Not permitted to escape an unwinnable game. Then, very well. Why don't I repeat this until I lose? Quit being so faint-hearted. Win. Use the best moves you have. You started this game. You have a duty to make the best moves possible. Give all that indecisive fooling around a rest. At that time, there was a violent sound, but Lulu just cashed in the save reminder. And, that means we now have to save. And yes, that butterfly is my new save animation. So if you cash in your save reminder, there's a little butterfly on the screen that tells you that it worked. Which I'm very proud of it. I made that in like a day, a couple hours. I'm very happy with how that turned out. Thank you, cat. Lulu, it's fine if you don't notice like the reactions and stuff, because I'm like, you know, all over the place anyway. And again, I try to reel the reactions in, so if you don't notice, that's not a bad thing necessarily. You're gonna make me blush. Which I can do, actually. I forget that I can do that. I'm still vibing very hard to the song, but we must move on. At that time, there was a violent sound. Beato felt a cold, pathetic sensation on her leg.
Gotcha. I finally got you, eh, Beato?
Lambda Delta, I'm so sorry, I forgot what voice I did for you. Ah, great Lady Lambda Delta, is it? To think that you were still here. Beato's foot was caught in an ice-cold steel shackle, tying her to the chair she sat in. She would no longer be able to escape from this seat.
Ho 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 ho. You won't be able to escape anymore, got it? I could be more persistent than I look. Surprised?
It's more surprising that you don't realize how persistent you look.
You are not permitted to leave early or suspend this game. You'll fight for all eternity in order to win, okay? You don't want to lose, do you? You want a little peek at the kind of wonderful world you'll be thrown into if you lose? Don't worry. You can win, because I, the great Lady Lambda Delta, will be looking after you, constantly, until you win. For all eternity.
But even if I wish to fight, there's no opponent seated across from me, correct? Don't worry, I found Battler. Then Baron Castle appeared and clapped her hands. Battler appeared from the sky and plopped into the opposite chair. Battler's eyes were slightly opened, but there was no sparkle in them, almost like a doll's. Without one of the pillars that established his soul, he had fallen to the depths of darkness, and had been drifting about all this time. He should have then scattered and disappeared like mist. Castle had managed to scrape him together. It's incredible that she managed to bring him back into a human form. However, even though his flesh had returned, his soul had not. It had been blown away by Beatrice after having its existence denied. It couldn't come back easily.
Balor won't win from this fight either. Not until he defeats you. Just because your chances of winning are shrinking doesn't mean you'll be permitted the inelegance of abandoning everything and running. Even he doesn't want that. Isn't that right, Ushiromiya Battler?
Balor didn't answer. His heart was still dead. His eyes wavered slightly at the question, but he couldn't answer.
Battler, get a hold of yourself. You're here, and the enemy is before your eyes. Fight! Fight to win!
Battler lazily repeated that, speaking incoherently. He'd come back. The wound he bore on his soul was no small thing. That was only natural. Beatrice had woven her red, and he had been denied. He had learned that the mother he'd respected was not his birth mother, and he didn't know who he was. He was not Ushiromiya Battler.
Don't talk stupid. You are Ushiromiya Battler, no one else. No matter who acknowledges that or denies that, make sure you believe it yourself. After all, you're the only one who can create your own world. Don't lose the world where you're Ushiromiya Battler.
Then, who am I? I'm not my mom's child, right? Where was I born from? Balor asked that question as his eyes, which still hadn't regained their sparkle, stared lazily up at the ceiling. Of course, she answered right away.
Yes, that's right.
Beator proclaimed it with the red truth. So I'll proclaim it too. Ushiromiya Battler is not Ushiromiya Azumu's son. In that case, he's not qualified to be the opponent in my game, correct?
Beatrice, repeat it. Ushiromiya Battler is not Ushiromiya Kinzo's grandchild.
As Beata wrinkled her forehead, a painful-looking smile rose to her face.
So you refuse to repeat it?
Beato proclaimed two red truths. Battler is not Azumu's son, and no one except Kinzo's grandchild Battler is qualified to be her opponent. The following theory will allow Battler to be accepted without creating any contradictions.
Here's my blue truth. Listen to it. The one qualified to be Beato's opponent is Kinzo's grandchild, Ushiromiya Battler. And whether you're Azumu's son or not isn't a problem. Thus, even if you aren't Azumu's son, you can still be Kinzo's grandchild, as long as you're Rudolph's son. It was just a silly word game, wasn't it?
Your blue truth is valid. Beato, your counter-argument with the red truth? If you cannot counter it with the red, Balor's qualifications as an opponent will stand unchallenged. Balor was still out of it. He still couldn't really understand what she was saying for him. But even so, his spirit was starting to come back, bit by bit.
Ah, there's our boy. There he is.
Then, who am I?
Get a hold of yourself. You are Ushiromiya Battler. Yeah, maybe Mother Azumu didn't give birth to you. But so what? That doesn't change in the slightest the fact that she was a mother to you, right?
For example, what is Ushinomiya Ange to you? You might not share the same blood, but she's still your little sister, right? It's not about blood. It's about bonds, right? That's right. Even though we don't share the same blood, Ange is my little sister. Say it in red. Say that Ange is your little sister. Ange is my little sister. Ah, I could say it. Family doesn't mean blood, it's true. Also, the him bowing made me laugh very hard. Internally, because I was trying to be serious. And yeah, same hair color is kind of a dead giveaway, right? She hugged Battler, who was still out of it and slumped in his chair, strongly from behind. So much that it hurt. I don't know why Mother Azumu wasn't your birth mother, but still, up until today and even now, you believe that she's your mother, right? In this world, there are plenty of people without even a mother, without even a family. Did Mother Azumu ever let you feel lonely? Never, right? Don't throw your peaceful family away so easily. Your family bonds have gotten too thin after leaving your family for 6 years. You have to feel those family bonds much, much more strongly. Remember, for Mother Azumu's sake as well, don't lose your love over a foolish witch's rant like this. You're right. Mom was always on my side. Where is this place? It's dark. I want to go home. Where's all my family? The light still hadn't returned to Battler's eyes, but tears appeared. Your little sister is waiting at home for you to come back. Even if you don't come back, if even you don't come back, she'll be all alone forever. For your little sister's sake, please win this witch's game. Ange, my little sister. But I still don't get it. Why do I have to keep repeating this incomprehensible, cruel game with Beato? I've had enough. In that case, settle this game quickly and go back home. Ushinomiya Battler, how long are you going to play around in a place like this? Your little sister is waiting for you to come home. That's right. Battler had been caught up in this strange game before he even knew it. And still unable to understand why he was fighting, he had been constantly sucked into the witch's pace, played with and made to fight. That should have been his most simple and first question. Because he didn't understand that he had lost his purpose in fighting. That's why my voice won't reach Battler's ears. Instead of a vague purpose, like winning against the witch or because he couldn't forgive her, he has to be aware of a purpose for which he must win. That's right. I want to go home. I want to go home to Dad and Mom and Ange. I've had enough. Enough of this place. I've had enough of witches, I've had enough of games and murders. Enough. Enough.
Battler's soul is starting to come back.
But it can't quite reach.
You've had enough, right? Then fight so that you can return to your family. Destroy Beatrice and go home.
No, I've had enough of witches. Enough of Beato, enough of everything. And even you are probably just another one of the witch's allies. I could be betrayed again at any time. You can't trust anything. You can't trust any words that aren't read. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Balor's soul howled. She hugged his head from behind, strong enough that it hurt. Come home quickly, Oni-chan. Don't leave me all alone. Huh? Who are you? It's me. It's Ange. Dad and Mom and Oni-chan. No one came home. I'm so lonely. I beg you, come home quickly. Ange. You were Ange? That's right, I'm Ange. The Ushinomiya Ange of a world where no one comes home. My entire family never came home from Rokanjima that day. The witch before your eyes stole away my whole family, even you, Oni-chan. Only you can finish her, Oni-chan. Finish her. Then take your family back. And then come home to me. Beato did that. To my family. And she says, I will not run away or hide from it. I stole Ushinomiya Ange's family away from her. Feelings. Battler is my toy. His father and mother are both my toys. I won't give them back to you. You may continue to wander all alone forever, awaiting the return of a family that will never come back. From Ange's arms that held him, the painful, sad days that had been experienced by his lonely little sister flowed into Battler. Because he'd been playing around in a place like this, his little sister had been left all by herself, had been forced to endure all that pain. Ange. Damn. What am I doing? Thanks, Ange. Your Oni-chan has been forgetting something important this whole time. Battler tried to turn around, but Ange was hanging onto his head with an incredible force, so he couldn't turn back. Was it sweat? Hot drops were splashing onto the nape of Battler's neck. What they were, he knew from holding Ange's arm that clung to him. Because it stained Battler's hand, his fingers red. Blood. Ange? Are you okay? Hey! It dripped and splashed. He didn't know what was going on. Battler didn't know because he couldn't turn around, but the hot drops that stained his entire back were surely blood. In order to save you, Oni-chan, in order to come here, there was a single rule I had to follow. This is it. Letting you, Oni-chan, know that I was Ange. It was so hard. Even though Oni-chan was right before my eyes, I couldn't even say that. As long as I had followed this rule, I should have been able to stay by Oni-chan's side for all eternity. I should have been able to play in the game against the witch. For eternity with Oni-chan. But that's no good. Oni-chan, you have to come back. Your sister's waiting for you at home. That person isn't me. But this way, your sister will be saved. Ange, there's so much blood. So much. He wanted to turn around, but Ange was gripping his head too tightly. However, judging by the blood that was pouring out and Ange's pained breathing, he realized that something seriously wrong was happening to her right now. Don't worry. I am only a piece. You know, in chess, they have this move called a sacrifice. What? Who cares about chess? Let's get you some first aid quickly. Let go for a second, Ange. A sacrifice is an abandoned piece. For a tactical game, you intentionally accept a loss and let a piece go. In chess, the ultimate goal is victory. So if it can bring you to victory in the end, there's nothing wrong with sacrificing a few individual pieces. Ange had coolly made a decision. She had been taught over and over again that she was a piece, not a player. In order to act like a piece and save Battler, right now, she would have to become a sacrificial piece herself. Battler had to know. His purpose in this witch's game couldn't be something as abstract as finishing off the witch. He had to win the game, release himself, and bring his family back home. Why? Because he had family, a little sister, who was waiting for him to come home. A being was created so that Ushinomiya Ange's voice could reach you. That's me, Ange Beatrice. I'll sacrifice the piece I am to give to you the will to fight, to give you purpose. My purpose isn't to play with you in a witch's game for all eternity. I came to bring you Ushinomiya Ange's mourning and sadness. That is my unshakable purpose. I'm just gonna check something real quick. I think the music got stuck. I suspect the music got stuck. Because it's been deared this whole time. And, I don't think it should be. That's the wrong button. I did save it. Yeah. I know this sucks, the timing, but I would really like... I always get confused. I'd really like the music to actually be the correct thing. Just so on the off chance that it's wrong. I'm actually going to restart the whole game real quick. Is it the right one? Because it should have been a different one. I looked it up just now. There should have been another song in the meantime, and I don't remember that one playing at all. So that's a little sus. It could be wrong entirely. But yeah, good time for a little water break. And man, you guys were talking about it being very warm. It's pretty warm here as well. So I need the water. Watch this just be the same song. Yeah, okay. 23 indoors. Oof. It's probably the same here, to be honest. It's the same song. Actually, Lulu, I've heard people say that drinking hot drinks when it's warm helps you cool down. And drinking like really cool things when it's really warm doesn't necessarily help you cool down, because I don't know how it works. I might be remembering the songs wrong. We're just gonna continue, it'll be fine. You had peri peri rice with hot tea. So it was like spicy and then... you know what? That sounds kind of nice. Yeah. Well, I'm just repeating what people tell me. I don't know if it's true or not. Sounds good. Nice. Let me just stretch my reading muscles. Sorry about that, slightly awkward break. I wanted to be sure that, everything's working properly so that you get, you know, the proper emotional impact. On we go. Ange. Ange. Ugh. The white, thin arm that held Balor became pale and transparent, almost like wax. And even so, the fresh blood stained it so cruelly. I will disappear now, but... Oni-chan, fight with all you've got. And I'm sure you'll come back to me. I'll be waiting. Always. I'd plan on helping you out a lot more than this, but I couldn't do anything. Sorry. Don't worry about that. You taught me, didn't you? You taught me why I have to win. And that I've got to win for certain and come back to you. What am I doing lazing about in a place like this? Yeah, I won't play around anymore. 'Cause I'll come back. I'll come home. I'll definitely come home, bringing a souvenir, I promise. I don't need one. So promise me one thing. What? I'll promise anything. In a second, I'm going to let go of this hand. It hurt, didn't it? Sorry. I held it so tightly. I'm okay. So you don't have to turn around. So, in the end, let me see the coolest part of you. Oni-chan, rise from your seat. Point at the witch before your eyes. And announce that the game will start up again. Ange's hand slid and disappeared behind me. There were bloody fingerprints left behind, blurred by her fingernails. But I turned around right away to take care of Ange's wounds. Ange... Ange... Ah, crap, and you promised that you wouldn't turn around. Ange... Where... Behind my chair. It was as though about 10 watermelons packed with blood had been smashed, and there was a sticky, pulpy mountain, and around that mountain of blood and minced meat, the clothes and shoes Ange had been wearing lay crumpled as though they'd been taken off and thrown away, as though just a human's insides had been pulverized and tossed there like scrap. As though Ange, who had been standing there until a second ago, had been crushed. Ange? Where's Ange? Where did Ange disappear to? Hey! Where did Ange go? The two young-looking witches said nothing, and just silently looked at the mountain of blood and meat and clothes. But I didn't want to accept it. I definitely didn't want to accept it. I was right in front of you. I was watching the whole time. Watching what happened to Ange behind you. Do you know? Where did Ange go? While she still lived, pinch by pinch, massive, red-hot pincers tore chunks of flesh the size of a thumb off her and threw them away. I was watching. I saw as countless cruel tools, burned red hot in the witch's furnace, approached Ange from behind, and one bit at a time pecked at her, twisted her, ripped chunks off her, and tore her to pieces. Ange should be proud. In order to share some last words with her brother, she stopped herself from gasping at that pain until the very end. As if something like that could have happened. But on top of that mountain of flesh and clothes, what had fallen there was without a doubt what she'd been wearing on her head. Those pink jeweled hair ornaments. To be honest, I thought they were a bit too childish for her and didn't suit her. So I remembered them well. Why did Ange wear such cheap hair ornaments all the time? No. The thought that this is Ange couldn't possibly be... You're pretty blunt, Beato.
Butler didn't see it, so he could have just said she turned to butterflies and flew away or something.
You guys also saw that happen? You saw Ange get torn into little bits? You were watching, and yet you stayed so calm the whole time? Without answering, Berncastle, Lambda Delta, and Beatrice stared at me. Some in pity, others in derision, watching me. Since she'd call herself Gretel, and after what had happened with Virgilia in the last game, I thought she might be Beata's underling, and I'd been wary of her, not trusting her even though she was an ally. And now, after learning that it truly was Ange, without even being allowed to see her face, I turn around and find something like this. Why does it matter? All this about your little sister. What did you say? After all, you'll never return from this place for all eternity anyway. Whatever happens to your little sister in a world where you don't come home has nothing to do with you. As long as you play here, the Anges of countless worlds will live in isolation. And the same pain of her final moments just now will be forced upon her, spread over a period of more than a decade. However, that is of no importance, correct? It cannot be seen by you from here. You cannot observe it. An unobservable fact cannot be proven except by the red truth. Therefore, your anxiety over Ange's misfortune after this may be needless. She might, surprisingly, be able to live a casual life without ever having to work thanks to Rudolph's inheritance, right? That's a lie. From Ange's arm, every part of that sad future world had poured into me in an instant. All because I keep on lazing about forever and playing in a place like this. I never thought about anyone but myself. I must defeat her. I will now catch up on chat. I was wrong about the music, so that's a plus. That's good. Also, I'm sorry about the emotional pain. However, you did sign a waiver upon entering this place, so you know, no refunds. Sorry about that. Yeah, Balor deserves much better than this. And Lulu, good question about where Virgilia got the name Beatrice. I can't even say like, oh, that's interesting, because I don't remember the answer to that. So I can honestly say, I don't know. You know what you signed up for? Good. Just drinking some water. Because with work and stuff, I talk a lot more during the day now, so it's a little rougher on the vocal cords, but I'm hoping that that'll actually get me more used to talking regularly, because, you know, with the corona and the not having anything to do all day, I just didn't say much during the day, just on streams and in voice calls with friends and stuff. So I'm practicing stretching the vocal cords. So long term, I think that'll make the streams a little easier. So that's cool. Honestly, same. It depends. It super depends on the situation for me. Typing sometimes more convenient, sometimes saying things is more convenient. Typing's pretty great though. Like sometimes you just gotta need the extra little bit of time to think about what you're gonna say. But I also have anxiety, so I overthink it sometimes. So just flapping my mouth sometimes is the better alternative, you know? You nearly always conveyed the right message. Nice. I wish I had that confidence. Give me some, please. Don't actually do that. I'm fine. But that's great. Alright. I must defeat her. I'll take back my family, back to where Ange's waiting, and come home as soon as I can. Because even as I hang around with a witch like this, Ange's heart continues to be torn to bits by sadness. Ange, is this what you wanted to see? I turned towards the cruel witch who had indifferently spoken of Ange's brutal last moments, and slowly, yet with all my might, pointed. Beatrice. Indeed. Resume this game. I won't run away anymore, and I won't let you escape. Bring it on. I can no longer escape or hide. Let us decide this between you and me for good. One shall win. One shall lose and be destroyed. No other resolution can exist. I'll win. No matter how long it takes, I'll definitely smash you. There aren't going to be any more compromises, interruptions, or losses by default in this contest. I won't run away. I won't let you get away. Try and defeat me with everything you've got. There's absolutely no need for stupid tricks and deceit, for intermingling and acting friendly. You and I are enemies. I have to settle this as soon as possible and bring my family back to Ange. Unwavering resolve. Certain willpower. The certain willpower of a human becomes certain magical power. That leads to a miracle and promises that it shall be so. Yes, this is a promised certain miracle. Are my chances at victory not even 1 in a billion? No. Shall it be certainly impossible without any fragment of a miracle? Before I knew it, a cold, stiff chain had bound my other leg without a sound, tying me to the chair. Just for the record, it says that Beatrice is talking, but that's not actually the case here. That's just the mod that I'm using, fucking up a little bit. Wait, fuck, I was wrong. My other leg, goddamn, I can't read. It was Beatrice. I can't read. This whole series is based on reading, and I can't read. Okay. All that's left, says Beatrice, is to either be killed and lose to Battler, or resist and continue in an endless tie for all eternity. Thank you. Or perhaps I should say it's to continue tying until I've prepared my heart for death. Either way, I, Beatrice, must fight to lose, and nothing more. I have already been bound by the chains of eternity, and Balor won't let me escape either. Should I pathetically beg for his forgiveness? Should I beg for compassion by appealing to his pitying heart? Should I forget appearances and prostrate myself? Because of the chains, even that choice will not be granted me. Checkmate. This is a perfect stranglehold. However, I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice, the demon lord of gold who reigns in the Golden Land. Even in a fight to lose, there is an attitude fitting for me, and I have the right to adorn my death in a manner suited to me. I am no different. I'll make you accept the existence of my magic, and the door to the Golden Land will open on this island. You shall become the guest of honor at that first tea party. Everyone beside you is gathered already, you see. Because the honored guest's arrival has been delayed, the tea party cannot begin. Your father, mother, cousins, and everyone else are getting tired of waiting for your arrival. Sure, that's perfect. That's just perfect. What the hell is magic? What the hell are witches? I'm done playing with you. Here we go, Beatrice. Come as hard as you can, for there will be no compromise, interruptions, or losing by default. One shall win, and one shall be destroyed. If you have no desire to lose, then you must defeat me, kill me. However, I won't be killed so easily. Until you can prepare a fitting end for me, I can resist over and over again. Can you do that? No. You probably can. You surely can. Come on. Come and kill me. Is it that hard? Then let's go with the usual. As if I'd be killed. Even if I can't win, I can at least harass you enough to stop you from snatching victory, right? Ah, that's a good look on your face. Try and kill me. Try and kill me, Ushiromi Battler. think my tracking fucked up a little bit because I literally put my hand over my mouth. I don't remember that being in the original. I'm gonna have to freeze frame that. Oh my god. I unlocked the achievement for Ange. Gosh. Okay. Cat, that's a very good question about the fragments. I cannot confirm or deny. Very good question. It's a really iron pyrite. It maybe, maybe not. Beatrice referred to herself as a demon lord because as the Witch of Eternity, I believe she's in charge of the demons. So she's both demon lord and a witch. But that is why she knows Gap and Ronove. If I recall the witch lore correctly. It's a little complicated. So, you know. But yeah, pretty much. When the enemy is this cocky, you know they're gonna lose, but this game makes them look like the enemy is losing and then grotesquely win. Yeah. Cat, that's a really good question. I don't actually know. I mean, Ava Beatrice can be... Listen. I'm doing this for you, okay? I'm trying not to spoil things. But also, some of that just now really caught me off guard because I forgot that that's how that this main episode ends, because we're done. There's just tea party stuff coming up. But Ava Beatrice can be summoned. All the furniture can be summoned. Maybe Beatrice can be summoned? I would have to think really hard if that ever happens. Maybe she has like more power to resist it or something. I don't know how it works exactly. They don't really super delve into how summoning works. That's interesting. Lulu, as to the point that you were making about it looking like she's gonna grotesquely win. There was just a bit of text that popped up on the screen that says, "Please kill me quickly." Which hurt. That hurt. Like, I slapped it like my hand over my face because I didn't expect that. That hurt. My feelings. Oof. So, at this point, I'm thinking maybe Beatrice isn't in it to win anymore. She's just putting up like a good show, you know? On the other hand, that could be a ploy. You should know by now my eyes are just decoration. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. Cat, good point about Kinzo being a master summoner, because that's like his thing, right? That could very well be, because he summons her. Like, that's the whole epitaph thing. Very good point. Okay. I have about 20 more minutes that I can do. I'm hoping that we can reach like a nice little point to end on. So I might cut off a little early, a little later, but I don't have a whole lot of time. Gosh, that's weird. Having to go to bed at like a normal human being time. Mhm. Mm. Uh, yeah. So your theory is that she's been used her whole life and therefore wants to basically die. Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe she's the love child of Lambda Delta and Van Custle. That would be wild, but honestly, those two are definitely like into each other, so it wouldn't be that wild. And they're witches, so you know. Hmm. For shipping purposes, she doesn't want to fight Battler anymore. And she says only one of them can leave the fight alive, yeah? Hmm. Hmm. I mean, she would. Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to kill you, so you have to kill me. Oh, that's actually really depressing. We're gonna find out together. I say together, but I know what happens. Yeah, even if it's not for the shipping, yeah. I don't have a clue what's going on. Please, someone explain in a way even I can understand. What happened yesterday? I was in the kitchen of the mansion, grabbing some food without permission. If you open up that massive business class refrigerator, you can find anything. You can eat and drink as much as you like. Even if the typhoon didn't clear up for a week, I'd have more than enough to eat. With the wine in one hand, I was helping myself to some dry cured ham. I wonder just how expensive this wine and ham are. You ingredients are out of luck too. If only you'd had Goda-san to cook you, you could have been reborn as much more incredible food. I looked at the clock. Very soon, it would be midnight. October 5th, the second day, would end. The insane October 4th, yesterday, seemed like a lie. That's how much nothing had happened after that test thing. Nothing happened. No phone call came, and no letters came. No person came, and no one attacked me. Nothing happened at all. I want to start demanding a refund on all the time and energy that tension stole from me. Because after that, for an entire day, a full 24 hours, nothing happened. So surely, nothing's gonna happen now. A full 24 hours ago, Beatrice called me to the spot in front of the mansion's entrance. There, I was given a strange test to determine the successor to the headship or whatever. I gave a serious answer in my own way, but it somehow hadn't meshed with the other side. Beatrice got pissed for no reason and fell silent. I yelled at her to try and say something, but she gave no answer. When I asked where Maria was, she just told me to go to the chapel and left. To tell the truth, it was an anticlimax. No matter what kind of weird test you give, at least tell me whether I've passed or failed. Are you trying to say, thanks for coming, your results will be mailed to you later or something? Quit messing with me. Anyway, I then headed to the chapel. After failing their tests, both George Aniki and Jessica were killed. I couldn't let Maria get killed too. Also, I might get a chance to catch some person trying to kill her. As a little kid, I often heard from Jessica that you'd get in trouble if you went near the chapel, so I'd never been there. But I at least knew where it was. I couldn't find any trace of a person there, but there was a key bundle lying in front of the door. I thought that this might be someone telling me to open the door, but after trying all the keys, I found that none of them fit. I also called Maria's name, but there was no answer whatsoever. I searched around the chapel, but there was a limit to what I could do in the pitch black, with just a flashlight. I realized that this key bundle might be a set of master keys, which could make it possible to open the door to the mansion. I found no sign of Maria, so I returned to the mansion. The mansion was wrapped in silence, and in a horrible stench. However, it's amazing how good humans are at adapting. The inside of the mansion must still be wrapped up in that smell. However, I grew completely used to it and stopped minding it. It didn't seem any worse than any old house where someone had burnt some meat. At first, I was bewildered by the stench, but I decided to head to the dining hall for the time being. And found those corpses that were so pitiful that Godan-san and the rest had hesitated to speak of them in detail. It was the remains of Aunt Natsuhi and the others who had become the first victims. Half of each head had been completely split open, and it was so gruesome that even without knowing a thing about examining corpses, I could say that they were 100% dead. And on top of that, the remaining halves of their faces were left like normal, so it was even easy to identify them. Really convenient corpses, these were. And in addition to those 6 bodies, was one more. This 7th corpse was Maria. She laid next to Aunt Rosa, as though sleeping alongside her. I cried. At the death of an innocent young girl, and at the cruel way my dad and the rest had died. I raced through the mansion swinging the hat-stand spear, yelling, "Come out here, bastard!" But I couldn't find any trace of anyone else. Thinking they might be planning to hide somewhere and attack me from behind, I went around searching for hiding places, sometimes growing more cautious, and sometimes intentionally letting my guard down in various ways, but in the end, not even a kitten appeared. Then, morning came. My tension and fatigue combined with my drowsiness, making for the worst kind of dawn. Humans are pretty incredible. Even when a murderer might be hiding somewhere, we prioritize drowsiness and fatigue over our own lives. By that time, I was starting to feel pretty ridiculous. After all, for a full 6 hours before dawn, I'd walked around the mansion, yelling at the culprits to show themselves. My search had been a careful one, and I tired myself out and let my guard down. Even so, no one came to attack me. Basically, I lost patience with them and figured they could do whatever the hell they wanted. The boat won't come until the typhoon passes. They said on TV that it won't pass until tomorrow, so I've got another full day today. Lazing about lost its interest. And even though I knew it would probably make the police mad, I decided to play detective a bit. First was the dining hall, where the very first murder had occurred. The 6 who had been killed in the beginning really were pitiful. The weapon used was probably a gun. Maybe their heads were split by something powerful like a magnum bullet or a shotgun. It was a reasonable theory to hold. Compared to that, the seventh corpse, Maria, had died in a much better and cleaner way. At a glance, I could see no external wounds and didn't understand how she'd been killed. But by her mouth were traces of bubbles that she might have spat out. And it looked like a typical death by poisoning that you might see in a TV drama. Wasn't Maria called out to the chapel and given a test? So why was she in the corpse-filled dining hall, lying next to her mother, dead? Even if the cause of death was poison, who gave it to her? Her clothes weren't disturbed at all. It's hard to imagine that she was forcibly pushed down and given an injection of poison. It's probably better to assume that she was given a capsule of poison or something and made to swallow it. But, compared to the scattered and violently mutilated corpses in this room, Maria's corpse was too clean. If they had a gun, they only needed to pull the trigger. But poisoning, whether by having her drink it or by an injection, would take a lot more effort. Considering the culprit's brutal nature, you'd think Maria's death alone was given special treatment. Why was only Maria given a sleep-like death? True, being killed is always a pitiful thing. But, for some reason, Maria's death alone seemed very courteous to me. Both of Maria's hands were joined on her chest, as though the dead person had put them there herself. Did Maria do that herself before dying? Isn't this usually something done by someone after the person dies? As though sleeping with her mother, whose head was half crushed, Maria dozed in peace. For some reason, that contrast really bugged me. Including the direct cause, it's probably safe to say that Maria's death is shrouded in mystery. And more than anything else, the biggest mystery of this dining hall was the pitfalls. The pitfalls that both Uncle Krause's group and Goda-san's had mentioned. After the first 6 were killed, 5 more fell through pitfalls and were captured. What are pitfalls? Those things that suddenly open and you fall through them, right? The room had a solid floor with a carpet that looked dignified, if a bit worn out. No matter how you looked at it, it was a single piece. If a pitfall had opened up, there would have to be a seam just in that place. And if there had been some trick like a pitfall, wouldn't it creak when you walked on it? No matter how much I walked around, feeling the carpet, I just couldn't imagine that a pitfall was hidden there. Anyway, it'd be one thing if a single person fell, but a full 5 people did. By putting together everyone's stories, each one of them had fallen from a different location. So at the very least, there had to be 5 separate places with pitfalls. So what does this mean? Was this room actually made with pitfalls across the entire floor? So by pushing a button, you could open up a pitfall in the location of your choice, some kind of contraption like that? That kind of ridiculous mechanism would be surprising even in a ninja mansion. But if Dad and the rest had heard about this, I wonder if they'd say, I wouldn't put it past Grandfather to do it, to make it. At any rate, I didn't learn anything more from the dining hall. Do the pitfalls not exist? Or do they exist, but I just can't find them, amateur that I am? I can't say for sure. Since they claim that the pitfalls were there, I can't ignore them even if I can't find them. Yeah. Balor is really the type of person who, when he's suffering or grieving, his brain just goes into I can fix this, I can figure this out kind of mode. It's like a type of shock it's kind of detached almost. Which, yeah. Grief does weird things to your brain. There's also like because at this point he's already spent like a whole day just completely tensed up, like someone's gonna come, someone's gonna try to kill me, and then he just gives up on that, but still doesn't give up. Like, he never stops thinking. He does sometimes, I guess, but when it really comes down to it, he doesn't give up, which I think is admirable. He goes into his tangents, yes. That's his safe space. Safe place. As long as he has his tangents, you know, he can keep going a little bit. I cope by humor. Battler copes by tangents. Well, thing is, at this point, like, is it... Like, he's just sort of following his own curiosity, right? Because like he said, the police is gonna get mad at him for doing detective stuff. Like, he doesn't really get anything out of knowing beyond like his own satisfaction, right? So I would say that counts as a tangent for sure. I thought we went over this. We're the same people. I'm just older than you. Because I'm the grandpa, right? I'm you from the future. He just likes to have all the info. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm me from the present. I am older you, yes. Sorry you had to find out this way. Or is this good? I can't tell. You're gonna be cool when you're in your 30s. Oh, don't get your hope. Well, you know what? Thank you for thinking that I'm cool. I'll take it. I appreciate that. The next ones to be killed were Jessica and George Aniki. I just noticed the time, sorry for rushing. I discovered George Aniki when I'd been called out for my test. He had been called out to the arbor in the rose garden and probably shot in the head with a gun. In the forehead with a gun. Oh, George. Jessica had been called to her own room on the second floor of the mansion. The door to her room was locked, but that wasn't a problem at all since I had a master key. Inside the room, it was horrible. But after the dining hall, I was used to corpses, so I'd built up a bit of an immunity. The phone receiver was loose and dangling. Had she been killed while still on the phone with me? Jessica was leaning against the wall right next to it. She's not leaning in the picture, with half of her head split open. As far as I could tell by glancing at the scene, it looked as though she'd been killed while on the phone. In that case, had the culprit been right there before her eyes? I hadn't gotten that impression when listening to Jessica's voice over the phone. I'm pretty sure Jessica said, "They got me." It would probably be best to assume that she'd already received a fatal wound at the time of the phone call. That's right, and she also said this. When you come, Battler, I'll be a corpse with half its head split open. Yes, that's what she said. From what I could tell by looking at Jessica's corpse, there were no wounds on her other than the damage to her head. Could she have had an injury serious enough to make her prepared for death and then died halfway through the phone call? But the way she talks on the phone made me think that she'd escaped harm for the time being. You shouldn't be able to have a casual conversation over a phone if the culprit's right before your eyes. So, did the culprit come in partway through the phone call and kill Jessica? No, that can't be right. After all, this room is locked. Wait, that doesn't tell me anything. If the culprit stole a master key from one of the victims, locking the door would be meaningless. But she had no external wounds other than her head. In that case, should I assume that the fatal wound she was prepared to die from and the actual external wound that damaged her head were two different things? And that both of them were made to the same part of her body? In other words, Jessica was struck severely to the head and received an incredibly bad wound. Then she called me and either lost consciousness or died while on the phone. Then, the culprit came and damaged her head again. Something like that. After being called to this room, Jessica was attacked by the culprit and received a serious injury. Then, the culprit thought she'd been killed and went away for the time being. But Jessica miraculously started breathing again and called me with what would be her dying message. Then the culprit realized that they failed to kill her and rushed back to deliver the final blow after Jessica fell unconscious from massive blood loss. That seems to add up, more or less. Except for how Jessica was able to accurately predict the nature of that final blow. And there was one more thing that bugged me about the phone call from Jessica. Jessica had said this: George Nissan's done for too. That was an instant death. She said it almost as though she'd witnessed George Aniki being killed. But while you certainly could see the rose garden from the window in Jessica's room, you could even see the roof of the arbor where George Aniki had been summoned. It was very far away. Add on to the fact that it was the night of a typhoon, and it's very hard to imagine that she was able to witness everything that happened by the arbor from this window. Everything that happened by the arbor from this window. And more than anything else, Jessica left before George Aniki. So she shouldn't have known that George Aniki's test took place by the arbor. Why did Jessica know that George Aniki had been killed? Also, during my search of the entire mansion, I found Kiryu-san's corpse as well. It was in one of the old guest rooms, at the back of the first floor. In the past, before the construction of the guest house, the relatives had spent the night in these. Kiryu-san's situation matched Jessica's perfectly. She'd probably been killed during her phone call with me. The receiver was hanging untidily. Kiryu-san lay crumpled in that corner. But the way she had been killed was very different from Jessica. Her head wasn't smashed. Instead, a stake with an occult design was buried into her forehead. It was so gruesome, so I pulled it out. After pulling it, I realized that this might get me into trouble with the police later. So a little too late, I set it down by Kiryu-san's side. Its tip was sharp and stained with enough blood that it must have penetrated fully to the brain. I didn't know what kind of metal it was made of, but it was about as heavy as a paperweight. Certainly, if you were stabbed all out with something like this, it might cause a terrible wound. I probably knew what that stake meant. It's one of those. The style of killing from the fourth twilight onwards, the witch's epitaph. It's probably that gouge with a stake and kill thing. However, a human skull is very firm. No matter how much someone mustered their strength, could it really have pierced so neatly? No. By my reasoning, the stake wasn't the cause of death, but had just been used to damage the corpse after death. She was probably killed with a gun or something, like George Aniki, and the stake had been stuck into the hole left by the gun. Thinking of it that way makes it easier to accept. But was Kirie-san really killed with a gun? As she said on the phone, even though she was holed up inside a locked room, Kirie-san was being attacked. In fact, this room had been locked. Also, she mentioned a golden thread or something flying in and attacking her. In fact, there were 4 places around Kirie-san's corpse with holes that could have been caused by some kind of attack. But a golden thread attacked her through the keyhole? I looked at the door from Kirie-san's perspective. If it had been one of those old keyholes you see in old mystery movies, where you can peek through it to the other side, then it would have clearly been possible to stick something through it. But even though the doors in this mansion were old-fashioned, the locks were the familiar, average cylinder style that you could find in any normal house. In other words, they weren't constructed in a way that would let you penetrate through them. So no matter how thin an object you might try to stick through the keyhole, it's unthinkable that something penetrated through from the outside and attacked. A cylinder lock and a keyhole? But despite that, Kirie-san definitely said that something like a golden thread had flown in through the keyhole, spun around while aiming for her, and attacked her. A golden thread attacking through a keyhole. I couldn't understand what it meant at all. But, even so, Kirie-san probably predicted that I wouldn't be able to understand all this. And it wasn't just Kirie-san. Jessica said it over the phone too. Now, since the very beginning, from the time we talked with Koda-san and Kumasawa-san and got the phone call from Uncle Krause's group, everyone has said the same consistent thing. Grandfather summoned witches and demons, and is killing people with magic. And that is where I'm going to leave it for this week. Because I'm a little over time as is. And I gotta get up early in the morning. That's not even that early, I'm just a big baby. I'm not actually a big baby, it's just that it's late and I need enough sleep, like a normal person. Yeah, don't worry about me. I'll get plenty of rest, and we'll be back next week. Listen, if I was a grandpa, I would need less sleep. That would be great. No, I am a grandpa in spirit, just not physically. Because the older you get, the less sleep you need, supposedly. Yeah, eventually I'll be able to work from home like more often, so that might open up some venues in terms of streaming. But for now, you know, I have to adult. That's because your hormones are all out of whack when you're older. Huh? I mean, that's fair. Hormones do all kinds of stuff. But yes, that's it for today. I'm just double checking that I have this muted for next week, because boring streamer stuff, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. I'm just making sure that everything's set up for next week. And it is. Okay. Gosh, what an episode that was. I actually got really sad at some point. I don't know if you could tell or not. There were some bits that were genuinely hard to read, so that was, oof, what a roller coaster. To go from that to like Balor being like, I'm gonna win, to then the please kill me quickly. that suddenly appeared on the screen, and then super analytical Let's Play Detective Battler. Wow, what a roller coaster. What a sad, sad roller coaster indeed. Yes, you guys are right. But it was good, and the conclude. We're getting close. We are nearing the end of the first. It's gonna be another 2 to 3 episodes, I think. Mostly because they're a little shorter now. Because I have adult stuff, grown up stuff to do now. But yeah, we'll finish this up soon, and then we can start on the second half of the whole series, which is crazy. I'm really looking forward to that. You adulting indeed. I'm not complaining though. I have a good time adulting. It's nice. But yeah. Next week, I'm gonna be back on Wednesday with more Umineko. I'm gonna try to have this episode up on YouTube by the weekend. I'm gonna do my very, very best. I might not manage, but we'll see. Then on Monday, we're gonna be back with Mist, which should be great. And yeah, adulting is boring. If you're lucky, it can be like fun and rewarding too, though. But if you do want to sit around and play games and stuff all day, valid. Also, Lulu, good luck with the interview tomorrow. I hope it goes well. But also understandable that you don't want to go. I believe in you, though. And, gosh, I will find some music to play. Do a little bit of outro, and then, I will see you guys either on Monday, or in a VOD, or next week, Wednesday. Same time as always. Fingers crossed on you getting to work from home. And let me know how it goes. Alright. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for following this series and being here every week. Whether you're lurking or you know, watching the VODs or here in the chat right now. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much. And y'all are great. Have a great night. Have a great week. And I'll see you next time.